Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Eric and today we've got a no-nonsense review for Bachmann's new London Transport Class 20s. Obviously, as you can tell by my channel, my layout and all that good stuff, I'm pretty excited by this one. I've been waiting a little while now and today they finally arrived on my doorstep. So let's get them out and get on with it. So fresh for 2021 then, here is Bachmann's new tooling of the Class 20. As you can see, they're both in London Transport maroon livery and they look absolutely incredible. To start off, we've got both versions of the locos here. So we've got 2227, which has the London Transport roundels and the number 8 livery to go with the Sherlock Holmes nameplates. We've also got 20142, which has the Metropolitan Railway crests that you can see here, and Sir John Bachmann plates. You can see that on the models, the lining is very well picked out and it's really precise. The livery application on them is absolutely beautiful, as you'd expect for 2021. Modern day techniques are obviously paying off. We've got obviously the subtle differences with the roundels versus the crests, which is nice. And you've got all the detail on the sole bar as well. Obviously you've got the shed plate on both. It's in different locations. You've got the nameplates, which are obviously different as well. And what is nice is they've included the lining at the bottom of the sole bar there as well. You've also got other minor differences, such as the cab roof on 2142 is painted black and the cab window frames are body coloured. On 2227 the cab roof is standard body colour but the cab window frames are silver. Also coming further down towards the bogies, on the top loco 2227 you can see that the air pipe work on the bogies is picked out in white, unlike 142 which are black. And you've also got subtle differences on the axle box covers where 2227 doesn't have the red lines through, whereas 142 does. There's also a nice amount of separately fitted details. You've got the coolant pipe work and the oil pipe work either side of the battery box. The battery box itself is nicely detailed with some warning flashes. And also you've even got the speedo drive picked out on this axle end cap here, as well as brake cylinders, sandboxes, and you also have the drilled equalising beams on the bogies. So they really are finished off nice and they have gone to town with all that side of things. Moving around to the bonnet end of the loco, you can see it's much the same story again. A very beautiful finish. The livery is very crisp and nicely done. You've again got the differing head codes for each model, and once again in the detail bag you've got plenty of extras you can add to the buffer beams. Now you might have noticed there is something missing from the front ends on these. Now why they've done this I don't know, but Bachmann have spent all this time and money to perfect their Class 20 and really do it justice. They've then left the headlight housings off on the bonnet ends. Now, I understand there might be space constraints inside the body shell themselves for getting the extra lighting equipment in there. However, you would think that at the very least, you would put headlamp moulding in the detail pack for you to add on at your leisure to just improve the look of them. I think Bachmann were under the impression that because 20s usually run cab first, it doesn't matter anyway, but if you're spending this much money on a model, you want it to be right. So they really should have done this, in my opinion anyway. And it is a bit of a shame. Luckily, it doesn't really let the model down too much because the rest of it is so good. But there are a couple little bits like that. So obviously the headlamp mouldings. On 2142, you've also got a roof-mounted antenna pod, which should be on the cab roof. They've left that off as well, which did confuse me a bit because they've actually included it on the 20-3s. So if you can include it on one, why not the other? But what can you do? And then on the cab interiors, there's no driver. And a driver is something they always used to add on their locos. I know they weren't the most detailed version, but you could always paint them up and make them look half sort of decent. So that's something that we're going to have to add at a later date. The trouble with that is getting into the cab on these. I'm not sure how easy that's going to be. Obviously, you don't want to go breaking anything. So that's one to be a bit careful of. So one last thing that I haven't spoke about is the cab interior. All the cab controls are nicely picked out. And you've even got the AWS sunflower in there, which really finishes it off. So with the addition of a driver, that's really going to look the part on your layout. As for now, that I suppose concludes our look around the model. So let's get the body off and look inside it. I'll show you how to quickly fit a decoder and then we'll put it back together, put it on the layout and get some running shots. So here is the loco then. I've got an ESU cradle here, which I fully recommend. So obviously you can put it in upside down there, upside down here on its side. And the tray is magnetic for your screws also. I got this through the Chinnor and Princess Risborough Railway, so it might be worth giving them a shout. But as for the model, you can just see in the standard 20 position, you got one screw at the cab end and one at the bonnet end. So I'll take those out, we'll flip it upside down and we'll see what's going on. So here it is then back up the correct way, and you can see we've got the body off. This is the bonnet end and the cab end, and you can see we've got one plug here for the bonnet end lighting, and we've got another plug here for the cab end lighting. So if you do want to take the body completely away, just pull those two plugs out, away you go. This is the DCC blanking plug. Again, it's a Plux 22 type. You can see my Locksound V5 decoder just sat here. That just simply pulls out like so, leaving you with the plug behind. So the Locksound V5, simply turn it upside down and be very careful not to bend any of the pins. And it's as easy as that. Luckily, on these models, they now come with an inbuilt speaker, and that is attached to the decoder through the PCB. So no need to worry, you simply plug your decoder in, put the body back on, and away you go. However, I will be taking this back off probably tomorrow when the post turns up, because I've ordered a set of speakers from Roads and Rails. They are some small mega bass speakers, which I believe are a 20 by 20 and 7mm deep speaker. And you basically can squeeze one in where the factory speaker goes, and the other will sit in the middle here. To attach them to the decoder, when you take this speaker off, there'll be two solder pads underneath, and you basically want to solder a wire onto each of those pads and run one set of wires to each speaker. So you'll have two wires going from one speaker to the solder pads, and then another two wires going from the other speaker to the solder pads. So on the solder pads, you'll have 4 wires in total, and that will put those speakers in parallel, which will equal 4 ohms because they're 8 ohms each. Alternatively, you can use just a single speaker on its own. You can use a double iPhone speaker if you want, or you can just stick with the factory sound. But I want to upgrade it, so I will do that at a later date. But other than that, apart from simply plonking the decoder in, away you go. So thank you for watching that. To sum up, I think they're absolutely brilliant. I'm sure if you've ordered a set yourself, you won't be disappointed. And if you haven't ordered any yet, I believe there might still be a few available from the London Transport Museum at around £180 RRP. Don't hesitate to get your hands on them because they are limited numbers, but they are a really nice model. You won't be disappointed. I'd just like to thank Richard Croft from Roads and Rails for sending me some speakers, Roger at Chinnor and Princess Risborough Railway for supplying me some decoders, and Jamie Goodman's excellent sound file. And I'd like to thank all of you for watching. Hopefully we can do more reviews like this in the future, and let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you very much, and I'll see you later.